Hi there and welcome. My name is Chris Can with Aspermont and Mining News, and with me I have Philip Dutoit, who is with RCF. Philip, welcome to the conference. I wanted to find out a little bit about how you're viewing commodity prices at the moment, or commodities in general. You said previously that you're commodity agnostic, but there must be some things out there that are particularly interesting for you.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, as a fund, we invest across all commodities. We've done, 30 plus over the life of the funds. But we do change our rating, our ranking on what we want to go after in a specific time. Look, currently, I think we see the same as a lot of people out there in copper. Just structurally, the fundamentals make a lot of sense to get into. But everyone's chasing copper, so it's not that easy to find opportunities where you can be competitive. So a little bit, left field, and we spoke about critical minerals earlier today as well. Two that we do track quite actively at the moment would be vanadium and tantalum. So we have exposure here in Australian companies in vanadium. And look, it's slightly counter-cyclical given the price is sort of low historically speaking. But vanadium is an interesting commodity, right? So it's dominated by the steel industry. Most of vanadium units go into the steel sector. But when you look at the energy transition thematic, the case for vanadium redox flow batteries is one that's worth following up on, right? And more so for Australia specifically, and in the critical mineral space. It's a sector where you can be fully integrated from sort of mine through to batteries, through providing a solution to the renewable energy challenge that we're facing, right? Australia is well endowed as far as sort of vanadium ore goes, and the actual manufacturing process of producing the electrolyte, producing the batteries, it's not that complex, it's not that energy or labor intensive. So that is an area where it does make a lot of sense for Australia to actually, be more active in vertically integrating that whole sector. Okay. An interesting touch point, right? I think China currently, they're spending a lot of money and effort in proving up that technology as well. And we recently revisited what's happening in China, and I think their production in that side is 3 times what we thought it would be sort of 2 years ago. So definitely ramping up there. So that's an interesting one. The other one is tantalum, right? So Australia used to be a dominant producer of tantalum, a decade or so ago. Lost that title to Central Africa. But I don't know if you track what's happening in Central Africa, but there's a lot of challenges with the M23 rebels, for example, and massive risk on supply disruption in that market. Now, Australia, again, you get a lot of tantalum byproducts from the lithium mines here. So Australia is sort of poised to take back the crown in tantalum production, if you will. But the slight nuance to that is, I speak to a lot of investors who say, they're not that keen on tantalum because byproducts will just flow from all these lithium mines that are going to come online. But it's not as easy as that, right? We've spent a lot of work, and it comes down to the specific mineralogy at the various ore deposits. And what we see a lot of times is actually when you're optimizing for lithium recovery, that comes at the detriment of tantalum recovery. So it's not just a given that we're going to see tantalum flowing with these lithium mines coming online. So that's another interesting commodity that we're definitely tracking. Okay. Look, lithium as well, but everyone's tracking lithium. So.
Sure. And you mentioned that it's difficult in copper at the moment, or very competitive in the copper space in the market at the moment. When we had Mining News Select in Sydney, that certainly wasn't the case. There was a little bit of momentum coming in, but the markets weren't really responding, particularly at the smaller end. Have you seen any change over the past 2 or 3 months, and how do you see markets behaving perhaps out to the year end?
So you're talking sort of about the disconnect with the commodity price and the share price of the
general investor interest and finding those positions potentially from a strategic investment perspective or professional investor, and then obviously getting down into the retail space as well.
Yeah. Look, copper's a tough one because while prices in the short term have moved, it's not reaching the incentive price level that people need to see in the long term to bring new mines into production. So that's the challenge that we're seeing. And I think we also, you'll have to wait for those prices to materialize before you see big dollars flow in from strategics. On the retail side, look, you need to have exposure, right? Retail, typically, they can be a bit more nimble than institutional funds can be. And so you can take advantage of near-term price spikes or short-term price spikes that we can't, right? So I would say, yeah, if you definitely have a portion of the portfolio allocated to copper.
Okay. And Mining News Select Perth, your first one, I believe, or you here last year. How have you found it today?
No, my first one this year. Yeah, look, great turnout, I thought. We were on the panel earlier and sort of full room there. So definitely a lot of interest. Yeah, a few interesting companies here. Not just in the public space. Some guys I spoke to with private assets, so that fits with us very well. But yeah, no, I think a lot of optimism here.
Okay, and before I let you go, Philip, any key takeaways? I know we're only actually about halfway through day one, but we've had some great sessions with Rick, John Ford as well from Lau, and then a few investment pitches. Your panel, what's kind of stuck with you so far?
Look, generally, I think the feeling is that it's been tough in mining for a long time, but there's a lot of capital sort of sitting on the sidelines. Different sort of alternative pockets of capital than before, maybe. But it seems that once mining sort of takes off again, that there's going to be a lot of momentum behind it, right? So I just get that feeling that people are positioning themselves to take advantage of the next cycle.
I hope you're right, Philip. Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Chris.